Today, we will start talking about connections to books we like to read. At this point in time, I would like you to get into your small groups. First, we will be discussing text-to-text connections. A good reader should relate in order to better understand what the author is saying. You will be connecting one book to another today and will be looking for some of the following. Compare characters, personalities, and actions, compare story events and plot lines, and compare messages and stories. You will be finding similarities in two different stories. Now I would like you to read Owen and Julius, the Baby of the World in your small groups. Keep in mind that everyone needs a chance to read. While you're reading, remember we are looking at how two books are connected. Now that we have read the stories, let's connect. What was similar about the stories? They both had problems. Did they come up with solutions? Could you find any differences? Owen is about a boy in his blanket, right? And Julius, the Baby of the World, is about a young girl dealing with having a new baby brother. What part of this book is like another book? What other book or story does this remind you of? Now we are going to talk about text-to-self connections, connecting a story to your own experience. While you read, I want you to think about how Lily's purple plastic purse relates to you. Lily's Purple Plastic Purse is a great book that we can all relate to. How many of you have ever been in this situation like the one Lily was in? Do you know of someone who has? Have you ever wanted to show something you've gotten to your class? Have you ever felt bad for doing something you knew you shouldn't have? I remember when I was little, wanting to show off all my stuffed animals to everyone I knew. That's what Lily was doing, but her teacher didn't appreciate that she was disrupting class. Now we will start looking at main ideas. When reading, it is important to find the main ideas. Main ideas help readers remember important information. The main idea tells the topic of a paragraph. The topic tells what all or most of the sentences are about. The sentences in the paragraph are called details. Details describe or explain the main idea. Life at Wild Dog Research Camp. I'm going to read you the short article, and while I read it, I want you to find and think about what you think the main idea is. Imagine living in a place where you and your brother are the only kids, where everyone lives in tents and there's a fire burning all the time for warmth and cooking, where wild animals walk or run past day and night, where the nearest village is a 20-minute ride away in your mom and dad's airplane. Madison McNutt, 12, and his brother Wilder, 8, live in the southern African country of Botswana at Wild Dog Research Camp, where their father studies wild dogs and other big predators. Their mother works with local children, teaching them about conservation of the natural world. Camp setup. More than a dozen adults live at dog camp, including their teachers, workers to help cook and keep the camp clean, and college students who have come to learn about wildlife. Wilder describes the setup. 15 tents in camp, 10 for researchers and 5 for camp staff. We also have an office and an underground office, because it gets hot in the day and underground it is cool. A kitchen, a garage tent, and a laundry tent. And they have a small museum where they keep all the bones and skulls and teeth of animals they find. Boys' tent. The boys live in their own tent attached to their parents several feet off the ground like a treehouse. The camp toilet is a hole in the ground, and everyone showers and bathes outside under the stars. Sometimes at night, the boys spot animals like hyenas that come to the bird bath in camp for a drink. Sometimes there is a lot of excitement. Wildlife. The wildlife at night is very dangerous, says Wilder, so you have to be extremely careful. Last night, some hyenas killed an impala in camp. They made a huge ruckus, and I was up for about 2 hours listening to the noise. School. The boys attend class in camp about 4 months out of the year. Madison's favorite part of the day is when school gets out. Then I can do other stuff, like go out with some of the students to research cheetahs or wild dogs, or lions or hyenas or leopards. Favorite animals. Madison, who wants to train dogs for the movies when he grows up, likes the wild dogs the best. They are very social animals and are always nice to each other. Both boys have learned a lot about animals their father works to understand and protect. Wilder's favorite animal is the leopard. He says, "They are very strong and they are beautiful. They were here first and it would be sad if they were not here to look at. Now I have a few questions for you guys to look at. Who is Madison? Where does he live? Why is he there? And what are some of the things you remember about the story? We will talk about these later, but for right now, just keep them in your mind. Now I have a short story for you that I wrote myself. We will be looking for the main idea again and other details that you think are important. It's called The Big Surprise. Miss Laura's second grade class waited quietly for her to come into the room. They had planned a party a week ago. Today, Sam brought the cupcakes, Kaya brought the napkins, Brady brought the soda, and Lita brought the cups. Everyone wanted the party to be a surprise. Miss Laura did not know the children knew it was her birthday. When she came into the room, the children shouted, "Happy birthday, Miss Laura!" She was not the only one surprised. Miss Laura had brought everyone ice cream. So what happened in the story? What was the main idea? What were the students doing? And how do you think Miss Laura felt? Now we are going to discuss compare and contrast. When you want to compare, you are trying to find similarities. When comparing, you are looking for words such as different, but, or on the other hand. When you're trying to contrast, you're looking for the differences. When contrasting, we are looking for clue words such as like, alike, and same. There are many different things to compare and contrast. Can we find any things in the room? Are the desks all the same size? Are some larger than others? What do you see? We have raspberries and strawberries here, right? What are some of the same things the fruits have in common? Well, they're both red, they're both sweet, they both taste good. Now, what about some of the differences? Well, what about the size? Are the sizes different? One's smaller than the other, right? Now, what about dogs and cats? When we're looking at dogs, some of the characteristics of dogs are they need to be bathed, they bark, they always want to be with people, they sleep on floor or bed, they can sometimes get lost but come when called, they walk on leashes and can do tricks, they will eat anything, and they need to be cleaned up after them. Now cats, on the other hand, are a little different. They bring you dead mice and birds, they groom themselves, like they lick themselves, they meow a lot, they like to be alone, they like to sleep on windowsills, they don't come when called and don't walk on leashes like dogs do, they like to climb, they get stuck in trees, and they use a litter box. Now what about some of the similarities? What do they both have in common? They both have 4 legs, they have tails, they wear collars, they make good pets, they're playful, they need food and water to survive, they're furry, most of them, and they need to be visited by the vet. You are going to read one more story in your small groups. While reading this story, I want you to start thinking about things that are similar between the author and his brother, and what are some of the differences. Start looking for our keywords. Just a reminder, the keywords for compare are like, alike, and same, and for contrast, they're different, but, and however. My brother and I talks about 2 people in the family and how they can be similar but different at the same time. We will compare and contrast the author and his brother. When we're looking at comparing, we are looking at the similarities. So they both look alike. They have dark hair. Both are tall and have skinny legs, and both love ice cream. And when you're contrasting, you're finding the differences. So the author is better at basketball than Jared, but Jared loves reading and the author doesn't like to read. Jared likes eating his vegetables, but the author likes hiding his vegetables. So when you're thinking about comparing and contrasting, you want to look not only your keywords, but what makes a character unique and how it relates to the story. We are done with our lesson for today. You may go to lunch.